If Not Cartel, back with another kick-ass beer review. Today I'm going to review the Sticky Date Stout from Bad Shepherd Brewing Company. 355ml can, 7.5% ABV, 20 IBUs, 2.1 standard drinks. These guys hail out of 386 Reserve Road, Cheltenham, Victoria. This is a release I first done almost 12 months ago, back on the 17th of September 2020. So we're approaching almost 12 months since I've had this beer. A little bit's changed, but the label's changed. I think it's around about 0.4% bigger in ABV. I think it was coming at 7.1 originally. It's now 7.5. Certified independent. Back then, almost 12 months ago, it was Jazz, one of the brewery workers who was handed the keys to the brewery, to come up with something that she really loves, and that is sticky date pudding. She's a sucker for sticky date pudding. So you can go back and check out that video and get an idea of just how much this beer may have changed, or not have changed at all. The can statement has changed. Back then it was a story about Brew Cruise Series 11, being Jazz, the creator of that sticky date pudding almost 12 months ago, returned with just a basic can statement. Back then it told a bit of a story about Jazz and the Brew Cruise series of beers that Bad Shepherd was doing. So the statement goes: creamy and full-bodied with rich, indulgent butterscotch caramel tones and just a hint of vanilla. This is not your average stout. Sweet dreams are made of these. I really loved this beer so much back then, and it's the reason why I created one of my home brews as well. Blind Date was my version of the Sticky Date Pudding Stout. It was a double, well, basically an imperial, so it was a double stout, and it came in a lot higher than the 7.1 back then, and would still be a lot higher than the 7.5 now. Probably would be a massive difference in the way that they made theirs to the way I made mine. It just gave me inspiration because I enjoyed the beer so much. So here goes. I haven't sort of gone back and looked at the video too much, just kind of get an idea of originally where the Sticky Date Stout had come from in the way of the Bad Shepherd Sticky Date, and just quickly look at the intro to that video, get an idea. So that's where I spoke about Jazz, the keys to the brewery, and so forth. All that information was on the can. That can I no longer have anymore. I scrapped all my cans. I did have a plan to make a can wall, but decided to move them on. That in turn paid for a carton of beer when I cashed them in. So anyway, here goes. I do remember how decadent the beer was back then. It reminded me a lot of sorry, I'll have to hold that up to the camera. Spirits in general. Like, it had a lot of vanilla, oak, chocolate, real sweet, sickly dessert style beer that to me came across with that real sort of barrel aged vibe that came across, like I mentioned. So one finger head, slight mocha appearance to that head. I do remember the head, the mention of it being mocha back then as well. Very dark. Also remember that from the beer, and I remember the initial aroma I got when I opened the can. I'm getting that now. It's big, sort of. It's the vanilla, the brandy, the real sort of brown sugar, sort of dark, sticky, real viscous sort of aroma that came from the beer. In for a closer, and it's that exactly what it is. It is, to me, just reminds me so much of those barrel aged stouts that we were loving back then. The beers like Sauce and when they done their barrel aged series with the Beanley and the Starwood barrels. Yeah, mine didn't have this sort of aroma. What hooks me the most is a beer that smells as good as what it does. Generally feeds that sense of your nasal palate to really get that, to get your main palate going really strongly. Beautiful aroma. Has that, just that. You know, you can almost chew it, sort of appeal about it. I can't wait any longer. I'm going to dive in. Bloody oath. This one really has that. It does have the sticky date pudding, real sort of toffee, thick, sticky sort of aroma and flavour, particularly the flavour of that sort of toffee. A very well priced beer for what it is. For me, it doesn't come across as one of those sort of adjunct filled or sort of essence type beers. Some of those ones that have been coming out, they just taste like they're a little bit more artificial than they are intentionally brewed. Absolutely beautiful, and I do remember I allowed this one also to warm, and it come across really nice once it warmed up. Once again, fridge is currently running at 6 degrees. I'd like to enjoy this beer at around about 11. It's always good to get those flavours and tastes and aromas on a really particularly cold stout. For me, 6 degrees is cold for a stout. Call me new school. I just have to enjoy the beer in a warmer temperature. Do I still rate it? Yes, and it does really still come across. Obviously, they've just followed the same recipe, but it still comes across as a very solid beer. 12 months on, very close to it. We're only sort of you know, just under 3 weeks out from when I originally reviewed it. And yes, I do need to brew my version again. People are absolutely screaming for it. They loved it. I think I mentioned it on one of the other videos that I have to do it because even the old school stout drinkers absolutely loved it. We're talking blokes that are just into Guinness and those sort of dry Irish sort of stouts really enjoyed it. The thickness, the sweetness, the flavour just coats the palate, keeps the mouth full. Cheers, I'm going to let this one warm up, enjoy it a little bit more.